Alright guys, this is it. Ang pinaka-inaabangan ng buong bayan. Year-ender analysis, but more importantly, what to look forward to in 2024. So, Sir Ronald Llamas, we ended the previous episode by, essentially revealed it. Now, President BBM will go to Vietnam for a state visit in January. That's how he's going to kick off his, of course, favorite foreign travels. But this is going to be a very important one, and I'm going to watch it very, very carefully. Obviously, West Philippines, this will be a big challenge for President Marcos Jr. But before we go to the 2024 picture, ano yung mga nag-stand out sa'yo in the past 12 months almost, 11 months and 27, 28 days, Sir Ronald Llamas? Ano yung mga big political events, and to what degree were you surprised, half surprised, or totally unsurprised by some of these big developments?
Well, una yung nangyari kay ex-President Arroyo. No? Last year, anong tawag sa kanya ni President Bongbong Marcos? My secret weapon.
Secret weapon!
Secret weapon.
Yeah.
This year, no? This year, she's anything but a weapon. No? Baka na-weaponize siya against the president. No longer a weapon of the president. No? Ikalawa ay yung issue sa vice president. No? Natapos yung last year na merong 112 million na intelligence at saka confidential fund yung vice president na ginamit niya in 11 days. No? Natapos yung taon, no? Last December. Ngayon, this year, nawala. Pati yung kanyang intelligence and confidential fund sa DepEd, as well as yung kanyang intelligence and confidential fund as vice president, which was more than 700 million. No? Medyo nawala, medyo masakit yan, ha? Medyo masakit dahil hindi ko naman sinasabi na ginagamit niya yan as machinery building for 2028. No? Wala akong sinasabing gano'n. Pero medyo masakit na more than 700 million a year yung nawala sa kanyang intelligence.
Of course, kailangan nila yon, Sir Ronald, para sa bayan natin.
Yes. Para sa ROTC, no? Para sa ROTC, no? Kailangan nila 'yan, no? Kaya so, yun yung ikalawa na nakadikit do sa ikatlo, yung open warfare niya kay Speaker Martin Romualdez. Yung tambaluslos, nagsimula yung taon ng tambaluslos eh. No, the worst you can say, lalo na kung ikaw ay Ilonggo o Bisaya, yan, the worst you can say about another person is tambaluslos. Pero mukhang yung tambaluslos, year-ender, mukhang hindi na lang yung speaker ang tambaluslos, no? Dahil for the first time, openly binanatan niya yung presidente. At very significant yung kanyang banat, no? A deal with the devil. Wag mong kalimutan, yung tambaluslos is a demon, no? Baka next year ay yung tambaluslos
it's a Bisaya, no? It's a Bisaya.
Yeah, for a kind of demon, no? A kind of demon, no? Kaya medyo significant.
With a very big heart.
Oo, medyo, no? Maraming big do sa demon na yan, no? Kaya last month sinabi niya that the president is forging a deal with the devil. Kaya hindi masyadong malayo sa tambaluslos. Kaya hindi ako magugulat kung next year tawagin na niyang tambaluslos mismo yung presidente. No? So yun yung ikatlo na very significant. Ikaapat ay yung lalong lumalala na break ng sister sa brother. Ano nakita natin yan last year Richard, na parang hindi magkakampi yung sister sa kanyang presidential brother, no? Pero kahit papaano hindi pa pumuputok. Ngayon very public na no? Very public na, at very public yung suporta ng sister sa mga kalaban ng kanyang brother, no? Kaya if this is not an open break, no, between the brother and the sister, I don't know what is, no? Kaya tingin ko ay hindi lang outside the kulambo yung sister, no? Hindi lang outside the bakuran yung sister, baka outside the barangay yung sister. Medyo malayo-layo na, no? Yung sister, no? Kaya tingin ko significant yan dahil it is an open break between brother and sister na not so open last year. Not so open last year, no? At ikalima, panghuli, itong mga destabilization, coup rumors na no less than the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines inamin. At no less than the ex-president felt alluded to, no? Dahil sinasabi niya, kausap ko lang naman mga ex-generals, no? Kahit hindi niya sinabi yung pinag-uusapan, malamang pinag-uusapan nila paano magluto ng pansit bihon, maliban pinag-uusapan nila paano magluto ng adobo sa gata, no? Dahil sabi ni ex-human rights lawyer Harry Roque ay wala namang pinag-uusapan about the stab at saka coup eh. So malamang ang pinag-uusapan nila ay paano lamang magluto ng masarap na pulutan sa inuman, no? Yun lang, dahil hindi naman daw the stab at saka coup ang pinag-uusapan nila, sabi ni ex-human rights lawyer Harry Roque. So tingin ko yun yung 5 na mga
highlights of the year. Yeah, highlights
of the year, no? Na tingin ko magpapatuloy next year, no? Magpapatuloy na mga issues, no?
But before we go to the next year projections and all, I mean, what are the things that surprised you, and what are the things that didn't surprise you so much? I mean, because of course, you, Ronald, you and I are students of Philippine politics and history. We have been following it, we have been involved in it in different capacities. Some more direct than the others, some more marites than others. But is there anything that surprised you about the
medyo
politics last year?
na-surpresa ako dito sa dynamics within the ruling coalition, no? Na definitely ay partnership na nag-create ng historic win. 61% of the votes, di ba? 30 million, more than 30 million. Historic yan, no? At halos overnight, nawala yan. Doon ako na-surpresa. Inaasahan ko yan mawawala after ng midterms or immediately before the midterms, no? Ito nawala, nagsimulang mawala early last year pa at sumabog this year. Doon ako medyo nagulat. Pero nung nagsimula na yan, hindi na ako nagulat dun sa kanyang magiging direksyon. Yung sinasabi mong civil war at saka open warfare. Dahil yung sword of Damocles, no, medyo hindi na sword over your head eh. Mga swords na nag-eskrima, di ba? Nag-eskrima na yung mga swords eh. At hindi na nakakagulat 'yon. When nangyari yung tambaluslos, ang sabi natin ay that will define the next few years. Nagulat tayo na napaaga, pero hindi na tayo nagulat sa direksyon. Hindi na tayo nagulat sa sunugan ng tulay. Hindi na tayo nagulat sa civil war, open warfare.
I mean, for me, Ronald, obviously, when it comes to the at least top 3.
Ikaw, Big R.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course.
Nagulat?
Yeah, I mean, I already made a separate episode on that, no? Kaya ikaw yung star ngayon kasi mayroon akong separate na mga marites. But, for me, I mean, obviously, number one for me, the big thing that stood out in 2023 is Senator Laila de Lima being freed. I mean, my goodness, I'm watching her family, pictures of her family celebrating Lenny dropping by them. So this is very good news. This is good news. This is a very hopeful news. This is a redemptive moment, a very uplifting. We really ended the year on a good note, thank God. And it just proves, no, I mean, just to be clear, yung mga nagsabi na this proves our system of justice works. Therefore, we do not need ICC.
For one day.
One case out of thousands, tens of thousands of unresolved questionable cases under Duterte, including many EJK cases. Medyo taasan natin yung error rate, no? So everything that is happening with Leila de Lima right now, with her case, with her freedom, with her getting back into action and riding the saddle, I think that was definitely one of the top 3 highlights for me of the year. Number 2, I think this is where you and I was always a bit more skeptical than you in terms of the conflagration of the unit team, but I think the velocity has been slightly faster than I anticipated. Although I've been talking about this conflagration for years, no, as early as 2021, I've been talking about it. But I always felt siguro Sara and the Dutertes will be a little bit smarter. And so that's the thing. The third big thing for me is what was not there. Ronald, no? Communications. Napakahina ng communications of both BBM and Sara. Haven't you noticed, Ronald, like during 2022 elections, they look like having the best influencer/troll, whatever army you want to say, right? Like, sobrang lakas sila. Kasi alam ko yung Lenny site and other camps, ang dami nilang volunteers, ang dami nilang mga magagaling na influencers. Pero hirap na hirap pa rin sila na tapatan yung kabila. Ang ganda ng mga
And
tip.
very cluttered kasi. Ang daming
Oh,
messages
yeah, exactly. Pero
Oh.
last year, solid talaga yung si BBM, yung TikToks niya, mukha siyang BTS, ganun.
Very focused, no?
Yeah, ang
Very
ganda.
focused.
Tapos Paul Soriano, parang Steve Bannon slash, yung mga gan. Tapos, and then suddenly this year, like, what is BBM's? Wala eh. He's really relying on very standard people to do his communications, and they're doing it pretty okay. But it's not the kind of overwhelming hegemonic communication strategy that we're expecting from the Marcoses based on what we saw last year. Even more shocking is Sara Duterte. I think the communication of Sara Duterte has been a big case of omission over the past year. I really expected them to be very strong. Kaya ngayon, pag titignan mo yung mga vloggers, kanya-kanyang diskarte lang yan. Di ba? Si Maharlika may sariling diskarte, going from this side to that side. Kaibigan natin dyan, si Banat Bay, may sariling diskarte. So, it looks like it's not the kind of solid influencer communications machine that there was during the time of Duterte. And then yung iba dyan, moonlighting na lang as makapili club members. Para sa China, motherland, para sa motherland. Yan. So, sabog sila ngayon, di ba? So, for me, Ronald, that was surprising. I think for me, that was the biggest surprise because the unit team configuration is just a question of velocity. The Leila de Lima one, you and I, we discussed it. We're expecting it somewhere, near to the future, siguro December, near Christmas, but it even happening earlier. November pa lang nangyari yun. But this communicative vacuum, if I can put it that way, Ronald, has been really a shock. Kanina, nagtutroll na naman ako, gumawa ka ng split screen na nagre-react lang ako kay Maharlika dun sa kanyang mga banat. Tapos si Mark Lopez, yung mga Kim Jong-un style, may nag-comment, nagpatawa na lang ako kasi this is not the machinery that we were used to for 6 years. No, so for me, those are the big three things, including what was not there in 2023. Now, having said that, I'm not going to underestimate they could come back stronger and more decisive next year because it's looking like a desperate survival situation as we discussed in an episode, as you correctly pointed out. Medyo survival mode na yung isang kampo dyan, di ba?
Yes.
So those are the big three things for me. Now let's go, Ronald, to the last part of our episode, the important part. What are the big things you're looking forward to next year? Well, maybe both emotionally looking forward to, but also analytically, right? Ano yung mga dapat aabangan natin next year? Civil War na ba ito? Endgame na ba ito, sir? Marvels na ba ito? Justice League?
Well, in relation to sa nabanggit mo about communication, no? Siguro isang dahilan din kasi kung bakit hindi kasing efficient yung communication ay dahil nahati yung Duterte influencers, yung bloggers, yung mga main actors sa kanilang communication strategy during the last election. Medyo nagkahati-hati, di ba? Na nawala, halimbawa, Banatbay versus Thinking Pinoy, no? Tonying versus Maharlika. So sila yung nagbakbakan no? Sila yung nagbakbakan. Ang inaasahan ko next year ay hindi ko inaasahan na mag-i-improve yung communication ng mga Duterte dahil nawala yung kanilang intelligence funds. Nawala yung kanilang hawak sa poder. Hindi sila may hawak ng gobyerno. Ang pwede mag-improve ay yung mga nakaupo, yung mga Marcoses. If they get their act together, now they have all the resources, all the wherewithal, all the data analytics para mag-create ng maayos na communication political narrative next year, no? Kung hindi nila magagawa yan, no, talagang epic fail yan. Dahil nasa kanila yung poder nasa kanila yung resources, no, nasa kanila yung momentum, no. Sa Duterte medyo mahihirapan, no? Mahihirapan. Pero yung mga Marcoses, pwede nilang ayusin yan. Yung kay Laila, tama yung sabi mo, very significant yan. Pero inasahan ko yan last year dahil it was a low-hanging fruit para ma-improve yung image ni BBM sa international, palayain si Laila, no? Medyo masahiin, hindi naman masahiin. Medyo wag diinan yung mga kaso against Maria Ressa, no? Na nangyari naman this year. Pero inaasahan ko yan last year dahil yan yung mga low-hanging fruits. Hindi naman kaaway ni Bongbong si Maria Ressa. Hindi naman kaaway ni Bongbong si Trillanes. Hindi naman niya kaaway si Laila de Lima, no? Pero kahit medyo late, nangyari this year, no? Nangyari. ang talagang major explosion na napag-usapan na natin sa isang episode ay yung civil war, yung open warfare. Kaya dapat maayos yung communications ng both sides, lalo na yung incumbent. Dahil magiging yung propaganda, yung main element sa isang gera, sa isang open warfare, ay kailangan nilang ayusin. No? Kailangan nilang ayusin. Or else, ay tatamaan sila. Halimbawa, nagsimula silang parehong tamaan, Richard, no? Dito sa kawalan ng maayos na communication strategy, dun sa mga surveys. Kung makikita mo, significant yung pagbaba ng pareho. Di ba? Significant yung pagbaba ni BBM, significant yung
True.
pagbaba
Yeah, exactly.
ni Juan. At yan ay konektado doon sa sinabi mo. Yung kawalan ng maayos na communication strategy this year, unlike nung nakaraang eleksyon. No? Kaya tingin ko lalong nai-strengthen yung pinag-uusapan natin na mga kakulangan dito sa mga nakaraang surveys. No? At kung hindi nila ayusin yan, tingin ko patuloy yung trajectory ng pagbaba. No? Nung both sides. Ang mangyayari diyan, anong tawag diyan sa checkers? Perdigana. Alam mo ba 'yon? Perdigana. Para hindi pagalingan, paramihan ang mali. No?
Yeah.
No? Sa checkers kasi,
Yeah.
yung nananalo, yung mas maraming nakain doon sa kabilang
Swarm strategy.
Oo.
Parang swarming.
Dito parang sino yung mas maraming mali? No, yun yung mangyayari next year. No? Sino yung mas maraming mistakes?
Race to the bottom.
Yun.
Bottom ang mangyari dyan.
Yun.
I mean, obviously, we have to still talk about the real opposition. Very shortly, baka mabash na naman. Ito na naman tong Ronaldo at si Ricardo, nag-apply na naman sa Malacanang. Di pinag-usapan yung totoong opposition.
Uy, may tumawag sa akin.
Kaya ano, may nagalit na.
Survey, ha?
May nagalit na.
Yung picture, di ba? Yung pinag-usapan natin picture. May tumawag na buti na lang daw ay pinakita natin yung both sides, no? It could be the new opposition, as Teddy Bagilat is saying, was saying, pwede namang it's just a real Christmas party, no? Yun yung kaya yung
pwede both. I mean, pwede both, di ba? I mean, I reposted that and it got a million.
May tumawag, no? Na sinasabi, salamat, na objective yung inyong presentation, no?
I'm telling you, Ronald, you never know who's listening to us, right? Ronald, actually, I also posted it on my Twitter and I said, is this the real opposition? Pero question mark, no? And I think 1 million ang views and engagements niyan online. So, of course, the reactions were extremes. No, some of them, wait, what's new there? Diba? Yung mga, ay, andyan pa ba sila? Or yung aba, oy, mukha silang fresh and inspired. And of course, for us, Franz Castro, Leila de Lima, Lenny, all of them being in the middle, I think that tells you a lot, no, about, of course, women still being at the forefront, but also about the strength and resilience of the progressive movement, and also some element of uniteam. May uniteam na rin yung kabila. May the left and the center left, and as center are kind of coming together. No, I think we did a pretty decent job. No, not to be self-congratulatory. I think nagpapatawa tayo, we're humorous and all, but you and I, Ronald, we are in the constructive criticism camp. So I'm glad actually, Ronald, kasi a year ago, halos kinakancel na ako ng opposition eh. Diba? Maraming galit sa akin. Good luck canceling me. Diba? It's like, you can't cancel me, I cancel you. So you bash me, I bash you back even more. And salamat sa mga followers natin. I never run out of my own troll army. No, I'm just kidding. No, so ang thing ko lang, ang dami friendly fire last year. Oh my God. Ang dami ko na friendly fire na misunderstand ko, nag-react ako, tapos binanatan sila ng mga tao. So I'm so sorry. But I really want to end on a more positive note for this year so that next year we move forward. And I think that episode we did was right. Now, Ronald, what do you think the best case scenario for the real opposition next year as we prepare for the election 2025?
Well, kailangan nilang ayusin yung kanilang political narrative. Dahil this year, parang tahimik eh. Maliban kay Senator Risa, na practically the lone opposition in the Senate, no? Na ang dami niyang issue na dinadala. Pero siyempre, may limits ka as senator eh. May limits ka as legislator. Hindi ka pwede mag-sharpest line, no? Sana next year ay mas maging sharper yung kanilang political narrative. Halimbawa, vis-a-vis the West Philippine Sea, vis-a-vis yung aggression ng China, baka kinakailangan nila mag-scale up, no? Vis-a-vis against cartels, corruption, economy, no, na parang tahimik sila eh. No, yung isang medyo maingay ay pro Maharlika pa, no, yung member ng Liberal Party na si Stella Kimbo, na hanggang ngayon ay miyembro pa rin ng Liberal Party, no? So baka kinakailangan nila ng mas maayos na paradigm na sa economy, no? Ano bang magiging term of reference nila para i-criticize at mag-advocate dahil the economy will be significant going into the midterm, no? Anong kanila? At ikatlo ay dito sa mga mahalagang usapin ng civil war, no? Saan nila ipoposition, saan nila inanavigate yung kanilang sarili, no, dito sa kwan, dahil baka magkamali sila ng kwan eh, no, hindi naman sila pwedeng mag-critical collaboration, no, hindi naman sila pwedeng mag Duterte, at hindi pa naman sila ganun kalakas para maging third pole. So ano yung kanilang gagawin, no, dito sa mga nagbubungguang forces na dati ay magkasama sa UNITEAM? It will be interesting to observe how the opposition, no, will navigate this civil war, no, going into the midterm. Dahil hindi ko pa sigurado kung magbubuo ng slate yung opposition. Hindi ko pa sana makabuo ng big tent slate yung opposition na para maagaw kay Duterte yung pagiging new opposition, no? Dapat magkaroon ng real opposition, no? A big tent opposition going into the midterm. Pero next year, they have to navigate delicately yung kanilang sarili as a weak third force or third pole dito sa dalawang dominant pole na
bourgeoining third. I mean, for me, okay, again, this is a very good point, and I think this transitions to the final but important part of our episode, this year for that matter, is that Ronald, kasi one reason na, of course, I think I'm the first one, if not the only one, who has used the term civil war. No, now probably we're looking at a low intensity civil war, not a la Caesar versus Pompey, yung mga hindi ganon, Mark Antony type. No, but ang worry ko kasi, Ronald, is this whole Duterte Marcos conflagration may weaken our position in the West Philippine Sea, in a sense that we need some degree of united front. So I think this is the challenge for the real opposition, which is to stand solidly with the government on the West Philippine Sea issue. That will be the de facto unity against the bullying in the West Philippine Sea. While, just as you and I have been doing, Ronald, we call out, Maharlika Fund, yung mga walang anti-corruption initiatives, blah, blah. And actually, I made a post a few days ago sa Twitter na it went also viral. And my argument was, it's not that Marcos and Aquino are similar. It's just that Duterte was such an aberration that he makes everyone else look similar, right? What Marcos Jr. is doing in West Philippines is a standard policy for any decent, patriotic Filipino president, or at least any politically savvy Filipino president who doesn't want to go against the opinion of 70-80%, right, of the population. And Duterte tried to play around that opinion, but he was an abject failure. He didn't bring any big investments on. So ang worry ko kasi, Ronald, dito is if we go beyond low intensity civil war, that will be the opening for a hostile foreign power to really divide us and spread disinformation and all of that. Because I'm never going to underestimate the camp that we know, which camp we're talking about, their ability. Kasi ganito, Ronald, power comes at least in two ways, right? One is the power to build. It's the constructive power, right? To go Michael Mann. But there's also the spoiler power. So, you go all around the world, right? There are countries, like look at Russia, right? Russia has an economy as small as Italy and half of Texas economy, right? But it has enough power to be a big spoiler anywhere on earth, from North Africa to Eastern Europe, Middle East, and so forth. So my fear is, yung isang camp na increasingly marginalized, they may not be the same, full comprehensive power they used to be. And it looks like they still also are not coming to terms with it. But I think they could be a major spoiler power. So I think dito mahalaga para sa opposition, the real patriotic opposition, to make sure na they can have sufficient level of collaboration with the administration on the West Philippine Sea issue para they keep the Makapili 21st Century Makapili 2.0 club at bay, because I'm never gonna underestimate the Makapili club. They have still the machinery that they inherited from the Duterte days, no? So yun lang yung point ko, Ronald. I know it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be iffy and all of that. Kaya ako medyo harsh ako, yung mga nagka-question kay BBM. Sabi ko, this is not about Marco Jr. It's about the Marco Jr. administration. And you and Ronald, you and I have talked to people inside, who deal with West Philippine Sea issue. These are patriots. They're not there for Marcos Jr. They're there for our country, right? And finally, may konting laban na tayo. And I hope when President Marcos Jr. goes to Vietnam in the coming weeks, he's gonna learn the right lessons, he's gonna sing to the right tune, and he's gonna coordinate things. Now, I know there are conspiracy theories na behind the scenes, Marcos cut a deal. Si Ant-Man daw, may deal now with Captain America dun sa Cayman Islands. Okay, but if he's gonna still do the right thing on West Philippine Sea, we have to support that. And because we cannot afford to be a divided nation. We're the only country in ASEAN which is standing up to the bullying. No other country in ASEAN is doing what we're doing. Yeah, it's true. Vietnam fights back, but not legally and not as diplomatically assertive as the Philippines. And they're not building security cooperation with Japan, US, and other countries in the way that we do. So we are really alone. This is strategic solitude, if I can put it that way. Ayoko maging mukhang marupok. But we are alone in ASEAN. Let's be honest about it. So we cannot afford to have a fifth column, whatever situation back home. We have to be unified. We need a real unity team. Maybe not last year. And the rest we can agree to disagree. So kind of like the Chinese style, we split the difference. On issues that we can agree, we focus and work. On issues that we disagree, we'll continue to disagree. But we have to prioritize. I think the West Philippine Sea will be at the hot button issue. Ronald, I'm very worried with what could happen in West Philippine Sea as we move ahead to fortify yung ating positions sa Ayungin Shoal. China will respond, and China is panicking because napapahiya natin sila. And I always say, kasalanan ni Digong yan eh. He spoiled the bully for 6 years. For 6 years, he made the bully think we're a giant, like we're like Cambodia, we got a Hun Sen, so we'll be, he spoiled China for 6 years, making them think they can have us on the cheap and they can drive a wedge between us and our allies. Now that the Philippine government is finally doing the right thing again, as in your President Aquino back in the day, China cannot accept it. Kasalanan ni Digong yan eh. He spoiled them eh. So they're overreacting. You see, they didn't do that to Vietnam when Vietnam was militarizing their islands in the West Philippine Sea. They didn't do that to Malaysia. Remember, we keep on talking about Malaysia, West Capella. They're only doing that to the Philippines because of Digong. Sanay sila na they get us easy. Na subservient tayo. And takot din sila na if they don't do anything, Philippines will go all the way. We're just gear 2. Di pa tayo sports mode. We can go sports mode next year with Japan, with US, with allies and friends all around the world. So the next 6 months, we can talk about civil war at home, but I'm also very worried about the potential real conflict with China in the West Philippine Sea. So we have to stand together and think about some form of a unity team with the administration, even if that's a BBM, that's a Marcos. Yeah, I understand. I'm not saying let's just turn a blind eye to Maharlika Fund and all of the other questionable issue. And this is where Marcos has to give something also back. He has to have some level of anti-corruption initiative next year. He has to do something about the Maharlika Fund to reassure people. He has to show some level of openness to accountability and justice. And hopefully the Lima case is not just an outlier. And maybe, if Marcos Jr. feels confident enough to go all in taking out one house out of the equation, then he should go. But he should build the alternative unity with the progressives and patriots who have serious disagreements with Marcos. But they are also even more seriously concerned about what's happening in the West Philippines and bullying that is happening to us. Right? I mean, that's how I see it. Real talk to. I'm brutally putting the facts out there because I don't think this is being spelled out for a lot of people.
Yeah, tama ka, Richard, no? Na itong pinag-uusapan nating civil war, itong open warfare, no, ay hindi ito local lamang, no? Katulad ng mga previous episodes natin, pinag-usapan natin yung role ng mga superpower dito sa unfolding civil war na ito. At very clear, yung isang superpower sinusuportahan, no? Clearly, yung isang bahagi nitong civil war, no?
Faction.
Hindi lang para ma-undermine yung kabilang protagonist dito sa civil war. Kung hindi ay ma-undermine yung buong bansa. 'di ba? Ang usapin dito yung ating sovereignty, ang usapan dito yung ating pagiging nation. Yung usapan dito yung ating pagiging Pilipino, no? Kaya mahalaga na ito ay maipakita talaga for what it is eh. No, hindi lang ito politika between two factions of the ruling elites. Ito ay usapin ng politika na sinusuportahan ng isang dayuhang bansa, dayuhang superpower na gustong agawin yung isang significant part ng ating territory. It has to be exposed like that. Not simply as a civil war, kung hindi a foreign power, a foreign superpower supporting yung isang faction ng ating elites dito sa civil war na ito. Yung sinasabi ko na very delicate yung opposition ay nasa context ng yung binabanggit mo na quid pro quo, no? Ano naman yung ibibigay ng gobyerno? Ano, definitely may unity naman sa foreign policy. Definitely may unity naman yung real opposition with the government sa usapin ng West Philippine Sea. Pero kailangan din meron ding mga gestures beyond a Laila de Lima gesture, di ba? Kailangan may gesture significantly about the economy. Dahil everybody will be judged, not only the government, but even the opposition, by their narrative about the economy. No? Kaya dapat magkaroon din ng significant unity diyan. No? Dapat hindi makita na itong gobyerno ay kinakadel yung mga cartels. Itong gobyerno ay pinoprotektahan yung mga corrupt politicians. Itong gobyerno ay gumagawa ng mga polisiya na nagke-create ng mga bagong cronies, di ba? Dapat may ganun ding klaseng clarity yung gobyerno sa economic policy para yung unity sa foreign policy ay magkaroon ng legs, 'di ba? Magkaroon ng legs na tinutuntungan, magkaroon ng ground na tinutuntungan, and that is the economy, no? That is the economy. Kaya tingin ko yung real opposition ay open naman sa ganyang klaseng mga partnerships. Ang mahalaga ay magawa 'yan, no? Magawa 'yan. But pwedeng 'yan ay maging topic natin early next year.
Yes, in the coming days, God willing. Yeah, we need a kind of a national front. Let me be a little bit French about it. We need a front national. Hindi na unity, medyo ano na, baduy na yan. We need a national, front national. Yun ang kailangan natin ng the West Philippine Sea issue. Yeah. Sir Ronald Diabas, it has been a pleasure, working with you over the past 6-7 months. When you approached me during a dinner event not long ago, it just popped in my mind. Why not? I'll talk more to Ronald and all. And thank God this has turned out very well. This has turned out exactly as we were expecting. I mean, look at the comments that we're seeing here. Sabi ni Jesus Esperanzante, even if I don't watch evening news, just watching you two, nagiging updated na ako sa lahat ng current news. This is what we bring to the table, Ronald Diamos. So sorry, I'm getting emotional, but this is very important. I mean, this podcast started like this. Tingnan mo itong may scotch tape. It's still here. Andito pa rin itong yung Ilocano kong kasi mahal yung iPhone di ba? Andito pa rin. My podcast started more or less last year or so, like that, with this scotch tape here and all of that.
Parang Gordian nut yan.
Exactly naman. Kasi mahal pa rin scotch tape ko yan. And it's still working, not to be over sentimental or emotional about it. That's how humble we started. No production team. I still don't have a production team. No sponsors, no nothing. Like really just passion and support of people and having great collaborators, in a good way, collaborators like you, Sir Ronald. And I'm very glad, when I talk about rankings, we're #1 in this, top 100 in Singapore, Japan, whatever. Saudi, it's not to flex, although, I don't mind flexing once in a while, but it's just to show to people now there is an audience that wants to hear quality analysis. Critical thinking sells if you do it properly. And I think one of the things that, Ronald, people love about our conversations, I mean, no prejudice to other collaborators you have, is, we mix humor with very serious and passionate intervention and very forward-looking analysis. So, so I hope in a way we're pioneering something special here. Two strategists coming together, two makulit people coming together. So thank you very much, Sir Ronald Diamas. It has been a really pleasure, and I look forward to, God willing, inshallah, to more of this next year, more in person, different kind of formats, and to mix it up. a little bit. As I said, Ronald, I'm sure we pissed off a lot of people with our excessive honesty and sometimes, self-indulgence. But, anyone who really loves the Filipino nation, anyone who wants something real and sincere, they know deep inside, we're really fighting for something. We're serious people, Ronald. I always say that. You and I, kahit nagpapatawa tayo, we're serious people. We have been through a lot. And this is the least we can do for our country. So medyo malagomborza pa rin yung ano ko eh. I'm still in that aura of Rizal and all of that. But this is what we need. And you're right, Ronald, we are kind of like the Vienna or Berlin of the 21st century. The superpowers are fighting over here. They're already spying on you as we speak, right? On you and me, no? But as we speak, we're also helping the rebirth of the Filipino nation. So I'm very, very proud and happy about that. Maraming salamat, Sir Ronald Llamas. Mabuhay ka. And advance Happy New Year to you and your family and loved ones. And looking forward to catching up very soon. Next year.
Yes. Sana kasama
Next
natin
week.
si Eloy na next year.
Potential. RRL. And
Yes,
I also want to do the RRC para Cristiano Ronaldo, Cristan and Ronaldo Llamas. That would be a good combination. And of course, yung isa sa mga favorite ko, RCM. In fact, one of our best-selling episodes is with Mark Gamboa. Kaya ang ganda ng combination
Ayun.
natin.
Ayun, tunay na vlogger yun. Tayo mga
Real talk.
nagpapanggap lang.
I know. 100%.
Kabisado niya yung medium, no? Kaya
mahal ko yan.
tayo ni Mark.
Ronald, let's be honest, you wouldn't be here if not for me and Christian Esguerra. Right? In the sense that, inatak ka namin into this world. But I wouldn't be here in this world. Of course, I'll be in news and all like you, if not for Mark Gamboa. So, all love and respect also to that friend of ours. And all love and respect to all of our followers and supporters who are appreciating. My goodness, like 2 oras ng daldalan ng 2 marites na lalaki. I mean, sa bagay, magaling tayo mag-marites eh.
Marites. Tsaka, we enjoy pissing off other people.
Pero with the heart. On that note, thank you very much, Sir Ronald Llamas. And
Happy New Year. Big
Happy New
R.
Year.
Happy New Year.
God bless.